Hi, friend. What does it mean to find your voice? When you hear someone say, you need to find your voice, or I found my voice, what comes to mind? Maybe you think of standing on a stage, maybe singing, maybe speaking in public, or doing something bold and visible. And yes, those things can be a part of it. But what if I told you that finding your voice is something deeper, quieter, and honestly, much more personal? This episode is your reminder that your voice starts with what excites you, and it grows when you share that thing with other people. I want to talk about a fresh way to think about purpose, community, and the power of small steps. Let's get into it.
You're listening to the Driven Introvert podcast, the place to be for dreamers, doers, and entrepreneurs who are ready to birth the dreams, callings, and ideas the Lord has placed in their hearts. Do you sense that God is calling you to step out and do something new, but you're held back by fear and uncertainty? Do you struggle with believing that you can do great things because of your quiet, reserved, and introverted nature? Welcome here. I'm Remy Roy, your host and founder of shepact.com. I'm an author, an entrepreneur, a creative, and a committed trier. I'm here to help you get unstuck and make progress on your God idea. Let's go.
A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to speak at Texas Women's University. After my presentation and the Q&A, I stayed to chat with some of the women in the room. One young lady really caught my attention. I walked up to her to just, say hello, and she looked to be in her late teens or early 20s. She was definitely a student. She smiled at me and she said, "Well, how did you overcome it? I'm an introvert too. Every time I want to speak, I feel like the words just won't come out." I felt so much compassion for her because I was her. If you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you've probably heard my story. I know what it feels like to have something to say, but feel like you can't say it. You want to contribute, you want to connect, but instead, you just feel stuck. I only had a few minutes to respond to her, and already I knew that there was something about her. She was at an event designed for businesswomen. She's a student, yet she came. A little segue here, but there are certain steps you take that just set you apart. There's a discipline, a self-awareness, almost like a hunger that indicates you want more out of life. This young lady had it. Her being there at 7:45 a.m. in the morning, it told me everything I needed to know. She wants more. She's a driven introvert. Just like you, just like me. So I looked at her and I asked her a question that I want to ask you today. What is one thing you love to do or are excited about? Not what you think you should do, not what seems impressive to other people, not what you think other people expect of you, but something that truly lights you up inside. She told me that day, "I love to read." That's what she said. And you might be thinking, okay, reading, how is that supposed to help her find her voice? But the answer was gold, because the what doesn't matter as much as the why. If it excites you, if it brings you joy, that's the spark. That's where your voice begins. So I told her, why not invite people to do the thing you already love with you? Maybe that looks like a book club. Maybe it's just a couple of friends that you can read chapters of your book with and discuss it. Like, it doesn't even have to be the most serious book. It doesn't have to be a personal development or self-improvement deal. No, it could be a comic book for all I care. But doing that with the people around you in community is the game changer. That is what actually builds confidence, because that's how you stretch yourself. Not by performing, but by showing up and doing something you enjoy in community. Because here's the truth. Think about it this way. You do not build confidence in isolation. You build it in community, in connection, in trying, even when it's awkward, in showing up, even when you don't feel ready. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, especially as an introvert, but it will be worth it. So that young woman may start a book club, or maybe she'll just invite one friend to read a book with her. That's all it takes. a tiny step, a stretch outside of your comfort zone. And before you know it, you've created space for your voice to grow. So let me ask you again, what is one thing you're excited about right now? What lights you up inside? See, your voice could be found as a result of pain and maybe breaking out of something oppressive that has held you back. But it could also come from that tiny spark of hope that rises when you think about your future. And I really do hope, sincerely hope that when you think about your future, it is hopeful. There's a spark that makes you excited for what is possible, what is to come. Forget the goals you think you're supposed to have. Forget what everyone else is doing. Instead, think about what makes you smile, what makes you excited and raring to go when you wake up in the morning. Because your voice isn't really about being loud. It's not about getting on a stage or being the center of attention. It's about living with a sense of purpose and presence. It's about doing something that makes you feel alive, even if it's small, especially if it's small. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager or the director of a company or maybe an entrepreneur. If you're yet to find the thing that lights you up, that you can share with people around you, then there is more ground to cover. You can do it. I spent so many years doing things I enjoyed, writing, reading, creating, but I did them all by myself. And because I kept them to myself, I didn't really grow. I didn't build confidence. I stayed stuck. Think about like a pond of water, like with no outlet. After a while, it starts to get stale. That was my experience. I wish it didn't take me this long to actually build confidence, but it did. But the moment I started opening up, doing things quote unquote in public, connecting with others, even in small ways, it changed everything. Was it scary? Yes, because it meant getting feedback. It meant facing discomfort because you never know what you're going to get when you step out and open up yourself to other people. But it also meant growth. It meant new experiences, joy. So here's my encouragement for you today. If you don't feel that spark in your soul, if you feel like something is missing, it's time to ask yourself the real question. Have you found your voice? Not the world's definition of what you should be or should be doing. Your own voice. What do you love to do? What are you excited about? And how can you do that thing with other people, even if just one person, in a way that lets your voice be seen and heard and felt? Trust me, that is where the magic is, not in shouting and being all over the place. I mean, if that's part of your deal, that's fine, but it's in showing up. So think about it. Think about the answer to that question. What is your thing that lights you up, that brings you joy, that you're excited about doing outside of the normal routines of life? Because sometimes we may get so stuck and so bogged down by all the things we have to do, all the things that require our time and focus and energy, that we're just drifting. We're waiting for the next time we get a break. We're waiting for the next vacation. We're waiting for our kids to grow up. We're waiting for this job, whatever season, to be over, like to retire. And because we're waiting, we're not really leaving. To leave is to find your voice and to use it. To leave is to figure out the things that light you up and to do them. And I get it. Life can be tough. Depending on what your experience is right now. You're struggling to put food on the table. You don't want to think about anything else. I get it. But the quality of life is not only in being financially free. It's a great place to be financially free. But that's not the end of it. Because a lot of people who are financially free are still lacking purpose, are still lacking that spark, that joy. So think about it, write it down, and then take one small step toward community, connecting with people, sharing your gift, sharing the thing that you love to do that lights you up inside, finding other people that like the same thing and doing life with them. I would absolutely love to hear, what is the one thing that excites you? What is that thing for you? You can send me an email at thedrivenintrovert@shepark.com. I read every message and I would love to cheer you on. Until next time, don't forget, you can find your voice and it can help you build confidence and grow and be the best version of you. And you can absolutely do that for someone else. Like I was so privileged and grateful to be able to do for that young woman that day. And I'm glad that I took the time to find my voice, because that's why I was able to be in a room with someone else and be a light to them. All right, I would love to hear from you. Until next time, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this conversation, please take a moment to follow or subscribe to the podcast. I'd also love your feedback on this episode. You can scroll down on your app and click write a review. I'd love to read your takeaways from this conversation. As always, don't forget to take courage, trust God, and go pursue your big ideas. See you next time. The Driven Introvert is produced by shepack.com and Remy Roy. Want to ask a question or share a comment on a future episode? Click on the link in the show notes to record your question in a voicemail.